kind of year-long festivity or
We
year-long
are live
laziness?
streaming and recording, just so everyone knows.
Very festive, very festive.
I like
Yes. The hockey season, the beard's back.
Hello, all.
Hey there.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Digging the sweaters.
that. What happened to your picture, Mayor?
What picture? Oh,
Oh, there. Thank you.
Hey, you are.
see me?
Unfortunately.
All right, it's 6:30. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. At this point, I'd like to take a moment of silence to remember the service and sacrifice of the armed service members who protect our nation, and the first responders who protect our neighborhoods. I'd also like to make mention of two people in our community that passed away that, contributed to our community. Beth Abe and Paul Waldeck recently passed away. So please join me in a moment.
Can I add somebody to that?
Sure, go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
I don't know if many of you are aware, Thomas Gutka, who's been a lifelong resident in Hibernia, he had passed away on the 24th of November. He, in 1955, is a record holder, I think to this day, of the 4-minute and 19.5-second mile. He was an unbelievable track star back in the day, as well as in Kansas City, where he went to college in Notre Dame. He's also a Marine in the Special Forces. He was a track coach in Morris Hills. He also was a librarian over at Morris Hills for 30 plus years. And he was really active in the history of Hibernia. He is one of 14 brothers and sisters within Rockaway. So I just wanted to make a mention of that in his passing. He'll definitely be missed as well.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Please join me in a moment of silence. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Council President, just so you're aware, Mr. Friedlander just told me that he's having an issue with the audio on his laptop.
Okay.
Councilmember Kelly?
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn?
Here.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Did you
Councilmember
message him?
Kritz?
Mm-hmm.
Councilmember Kritz?
Oh, here I am. Okay.
Oh, there's Manny.
Yep, here.
Yeah, I got the sound on now.
Councilmember Salberg?
Here.
Councilmember Brooks?
Here.
Councilmember Noon?
Here.
Vice President Sackett?
Here.
President Jackson?
Here, we have a quorum. Please be advised that all electronic remote meetings of the Township Council held on WebEx are recorded. Full and complete information concerning public attendance at all WebEx meetings is published on the Township website. All members of the public will be provided with the opportunity to speak. Please be further advised that during any public hearing or open to the public sections of the meeting, the clerk will send an unmute request to each member of the public and ask if they wish to speak. Once the township clerk has sent the unmute request, if you are attending the meeting by telephone, you will be prompted to press *6 to unmute yourself. And if you're attending the meeting with your computer, you will receive a pop-up request that you can unmute yourself. As per Rockaway Township Code 2-5.14, any person desiring to address the council shall first seek recognition by the presiding officer, and upon recognition by the chair, the person shall give their name and address for the record. Unless further time is granted by the council, they shall limit their statement to 5 minutes. Statements shall be addressed to the council as a body and not to any member thereof. A councilman shall not direct any question to a speaker addressing the council except through the presiding officer. In addition to speaking on the record during council meetings, members of the public may submit questions and comments to council by emailing questions@rockawaytownship.org by the end of the open to the public session. I'd also like to remind everybody of our administrative code 2-5.13 that a member once recognized shall not be interrupted when speaking unless it is to call him to order or herein otherwise provided. If a member while speaking is called to order, he shall cease speaking until the question of order is determined by the presiding officer. With all those things said, our first notice of the meeting was sent to the Star Ledger and the Citizen, the alternate official newspapers for the Township of Rockaway, on November 16th, 2021. Notice was posted on official bulletin boards of Rockaway Township. First item is approval of the November 9th, 2021 regular meeting minutes. Have a motion?
Council President,
So
I
Mr. Quinn, is there a second?
Second.
Is that Mr. Friedlander? Okay, clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
no.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg, Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes, that's 8 yeses, 1 no. Minutes are approved.
Council
That's it.
President, I want to make a
Yeah.
motion real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I wanted to get it beforehand before we went into the minutes on it. I just wanted to make a motion to direct the clerk to correct the meeting notice for the publication in the papers of the correct time. There was an error in the most recent notice of 6.
Does anybody want to second that motion?
If they would hear the rest of the motion.
Nobody seconded your motion. That's the motion. You're
I didn't
explaining
finish
it.
my
You don't
motion,
need to
though, Council
explain it.
President.
You
Council
made a
President,
motion. Nobody seconded it.
I didn't finish the motion for it to be.
No,
voted.
you were explaining it. You don't have a right to explain it. You were on, you had your chance. You made your motion. Nobody seconded it. Next is ordinances to adopt O21-32, ordinance amending Chapter 7, Article 2 of the revised ordinances of the Township of Rockaway in order to add new ordinance Section 65, establishing a Title 39 enforcement plan for the regulation of parking, standing, ingress, egress, and the flow of traffic on private property owned by Krupa LLC, identified in the official tax map of Rockaway Township as Block 22103, Lot 8, more commonly known as Marriott Fairfield Inn and Suites Hotel, 10-14 Green Pond Road, County Road 513. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Kelly, seconded by Mr. Quinn. Clerk, you go through public. First, let me ask Mrs. Seeger, did anybody shoot an email about that one?
No, Mr.
Okay,
Jackson.
thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Clipperton.
And I would like to remind the members of the public, if you could please state your name and address for the record before you speak, I would appreciate it. An unmute request has been sent to Alex Soares. Alex, you're
Alex, you're
unmuted.
unmuted. Oh, you're muted again.
Alex, you're unmuted.
Yes.
Did you wish to speak on this ordinance?
No.
Okay, thank you. Chris and Denise? You're unmuted.
We did not wish to speak regarding this ordinance.
Thank you. I have a Jay Rivera,
Doesn't look like they have audio.
Jackie, James Waters, Mr. Waters, you're unmuted.
Hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Did you want to talk about this ordinance? Okay, thank you.
Jeff Will, you're unmuted.
Mr. Waters is still unmuted too. I'm sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
No, I have nothing to say on the ordinance.
Okay.
Mr. Waters, I'm trying to mute you on my end. It's not working. If you could mute yourself, I would appreciate it. Lily? Lily, you're unmuted.
Mm.
Lisa Kasla? Lisa, you're unmuted.
I said I had nothing to say about that ordinance.
Thank you. I have an attendee logged in as no name. I've sent the unmute request.
Move on to the next one.
Tideman?
Okay.
Tideman is unmuted.
Thank you.
Do you wish to talk about the ordinance?
No, sorry, I couldn't hear at all. I couldn't hear the
Okay.
entire meeting.
Thank you.
And Tom Will. I sent the request. He's not unmuting himself.
Okay, next I'll allow 5 minutes of council discussion regarding the ordinance.
Council President, we did have one more person log in.
Okay.
Jim Nielsen?
Hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay, I just came in. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the original conversation.
We're talking about the ordinance.
02132.
Yeah, did you have any commentary on it or?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 5 minutes of council discussion.
I have one question on that. Maybe engineering can assist me with the answer for it. We have it described here as block 22103 lot 8, and we also have it known as 10 through 14 Green Pond Road. Mrs. Ferrante, does that include the Dunkin' Donuts?
May I answer that, Council President?
Yes, you're recognized.
All right. I'm not exactly sure that's more of a tax assessor's question. However, I am aware that that lot is inclusive of the Dunkin' Donuts and the Fairfield Marriott. We have previously passed a Title 39 for the Dunkin' Donuts site portion of this lot, and now this is just for the portion of the Fairfield Marriott. I'm
So this
unsure
would be
in regards to the address.
This would be the northern egress or ingress then closest to Chase Bank?
Correct.
Okay. And then just some maintenance here when it comes to the ordinance to adopt, and I think we discussed this, because many people that are in the public that review the agenda, they wouldn't know that these portions of these 3 ordinance here would be open to the public, because it's not noticed to them that they can have an opportunity to speak during this. I believe we had that conversation with the clerk. It has been printed on prior agendas. I don't know why it wasn't done now, but maybe moving forward, we can put that small text underneath each description of the ordinances to adopt.
Hey, clerk, you can take the roll call. Clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly.
Did you ask if anybody else had something to speak?
Nobody else have anything to say?
I didn't hear you ask. Yes.
Councilmember Quinn.
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander.
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz.
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg.
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Councilmember Noon.
Yes.
Vice President Sackett.
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Ordinance is adopted. Next is O21-33, ordinance providing for the improvement of Peterson Field in and by the Township of Rockaway in the County of Morris, New Jersey, and appropriating $1,268,204.53, therefore from the reserve for donations on view estates. We'll go through public hearing. Mrs. Seeger, did we get any emails on this one?
No, Mr. Jackson.
Alex Soers.
No.
Colin User 4. Chris and Denise.
We don't have any comments on this one.
Jay Rivera. Jackie. Jackie, you're unmuted. James Waters.
I have no comment. Thank you.
Jeff Will. Jim Nielsen.
No comment.
Lily.
No comment, thank you.
Lisa Caslow.
No comment. Thank you.
No name. Tideman,
No comment.
Tom Will,
Comment.
and that is it for members of the public.
Okay, next I'll allow 5 minutes of council discussion.
I let anybody go first if they wish before I speak.
First, I'm sorry, I missed something. Can we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
And Mr. Friedlander. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
Does anybody want to go before me?
Go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
Well, first and foremost, I just wanted to say on the record, thank you to Pondview Estates for the amount of litigation that Rockaway Township had caused Pondview and the actual delay in holding up water for any other developer, and for them to donate just under $1.3 million for some improvements. It's really wonderful for what the Wilfs are doing here. But I have a question with that. With the 1.268,204 and 53 cents, is that going to be in addition to the $2,644 and $76.25?
The other amount has nothing to do with this ordinance that we're voting on.
I think it does, because I think the money on both of them are being set aside for a particular project of a location in Rockaway. So I believe
No, we're voting to put this money towards that project.
I
That's what we're
understand that.
voting on. So you can vote one of three ways.
Council President, I'm asking questions to my 5 minutes that I have, and you're interrupting that.
No,
You don't know the answer.
listen, I could unrecognize you at any point in time. So
Are you
I'm telling
kidding me,
you,
Council President?
you're asking about something that has nothing to do with this
It
ordinance.
does have something to do, because there's money that's being allocated for this project, and there's also money being donated for this project. So
We're voting on allocating the money that was donated to the project. That's all this ordinance is.
these are
That's it.
donations that are being appropriated for Peterson Field.
Does anybody else have any other, you're no longer
Council
recognized.
President,
Does anybody else have any other questions?
Council President, can I speak?
Yes.
Yes, you are 100% correct. This ordinance deals with exactly what it states. The 1,268,000.
Stop interrupting. You're not recognized, Mr. Kelly. You're not recognized, Mr. Kelly. You're out of order. Let's clerk take the roll call, clerk.
Councilmember Kelly,
You didn't give anybody else the opportunity to speak, Council
I
President.
asked them and nobody had anything to say.
You
You
didn't
should
ask.
listen. Instead of talking so much about useless things,
If
you
you
should
stop
listen more.
interrupting me with information I'm
listen.
asking, we're talking
Yes, no, or
$1.3
abstain.
million, Council President.
Yes, no, or abstain, Mr. Kelly.
1.3. It's
You're
I'm
out of
making my
order.
vote.
You're out of order. Vote.
I voted yes for the amount for that on
Yes.
that.
Okay, clerk, you can go to the next one.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz, Councilmember Kritz, I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes, that's 9 yeses. The ordinance is adopted. Yeah, Mr. Critch, she couldn't hear you over your sweater. I think that's what it was. Next is ordinance O21-34, an ordinance amending minimum and maximum penalties, 2002. Can I have a motion?
Move.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Quinn and Mr. Friedlander. Clerk, Mrs. Seeger, did we get any public questions?
No, Mr. Jackson.
Okay. Clerk, you can go through the public.
Alex Soares,
No.
Valeriano, Call-in user 4. Valeriano, you're unmuted. Call-in user 4. Chris and Denise.
No comment, thank you.
Jay Rivera. Jackie.
No comments.
James Waters.
Jim Waters, 48 Seneca Avenue. No comment. Thank you.
Jeff Will. Jim Nielsen.
No comment on that.
Lily. Lisa Kasla.
No comment, thank you.
Lily, you're unmuted.
No comment, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, great.
No name. Tideman.
No comment.
Tom Will.
Comment.
Thank you. And that is it.
Okay, 5 minutes of council discussion.
Two quick things. Ms. Clipperton, I believe there's a name that you've missed a couple of times. Mr. Garabrandt, that's in the audience?
That's not who that is, and it's, we were told, it's somebody just that's not looking to speak, so.
So you don't
That has
mention the
nothing to
name
do
on the
with this
record?
ordinance, Mr. Kelly. Would you like to discuss the
No, I'm
ordinance?
just trying to make sure that we have everything that's available to the public for that.
Right, so some idiot doesn't sue us, I know.
I'm sorry,
So
what
do
did
you have anything about the ordinance you'd wish to comment on?
Could you repeat that again, Mr. President?
Do you have anything in the ordinance you wish to comment on?
No, before that, what did you say?
Do you have anything in the ordinance you wish to comment on?
There was-
Anybody else have anything?
I do have one thing to comment on that. One, caution your mouth of what you say.
Don't tell me what to do,
Just
little
a
man.
reminder that if we were to have a notation underneath this for open to the public.
Okay, we don't need a reminder. Do you have any commentary on the
We may
ordinance?
have more participation, especially.
Do you have any
emails
commentary
prior to
on the
meeting.
ordinance?
Stop interrupting me, Council President. Thank you.
Don't tell me what to do, Mr. Kelly.
I
Do you
just
have any
did,
commentary on the
President.
ordinance?
I just did.
Okay. Clerk, you could take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly.
No.
Councilmember Quinn.
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander.
Give a
Councilmember
thumbs up
Friedlander.
if it's yes, man. You can't hear you.
Yes, I'm sorry.
There you
I was I couldn't unmute.
Councilmember Kritz.
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg. Councilmember Brooks.
Yes.
Councilmember Noon.
Yes.
Vice President Sackett.
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes, that's 8 yeses, 1 no. Motion carries. Next is open to the public. First, Mrs. Seeger, do we have any emails?
No, President Jackson.
Okay, Ms. Clipperton, you can go through the other members of the public.
Alex Soares,
No.
Valeriano, Colin User 4, Chris and Denise,
Yes, I'd like to speak regarding an issue that's ongoing in our neighborhood in Jacobs Road.
if you could just
Could
please
you-
state your name and address for the record.
Sure, my name is Denise Kirk and I am at 100 Jacobs Road in Rockaway.
Thank you.
Sure. I wanted to express some concerns regarding a neighbor of ours who is in the process of pursuing a variance of zoning as well as at the current moment submitting an application to the Farm Bureau to be considered as a commercial farm. They have been given they have been in violation of operating illegally within the neighborhood, within their zoning, operating a commercial business, and they've been told to stop doing these commercial activities. Yet in the midst of waiting to find out what the outcome is for the Farm Bureau and from the variance consideration, they're continuing to use this as an opportunity to operate their illegal commercial activities. And as a neighborhood, this has been impacting us going on almost a year and a half now. And I would like to ask if the council can speak on behalf of whether or not there is something that we can do to prevent them from continuing to operate illegally, because it seems very obvious that the tactic of going to the farm board and applying for a recognition of being a commercial farm when they do no farm activities is a ploy to delay their variance application and continue to be able to operate without any sort of oversight. And so the neighbors are continuing to be impacted by this ongoing activity. So I would like to know if there's any action that can be taken either through the town attorney to take legal action to make sure that they don't continue to operate until their variance is heard and the Farm Bureau has commented on their application.
Thank you, Ms. Kirk. I'll defer to the township attorney, Mr. Yachafano.
Thank you, Council President. I appreciate the interest that adjacent property owners have in this particular use. In anticipation that there will be more commentary this evening about this situation, I think it's appropriate to let people know that right now the situation is beyond the jurisdiction of the council and the administration. For the first instance, the matter was before the Board of Adjustment, which for matters of this nature has exclusive jurisdiction, separate and above the councils and the administrations. The recent farm application is pending. I saw a copy of the application for the first time today. That action, that application for the farm treatment may affect the township's ability to exercise its zoning code. And the only thing that's possible for the township as a whole to do now, because the application before the Board of Adjustment is suspended pending the farm application, is they have to await the outcome of that farm application. As far as the municipal court proceedings are concerned, that is, again, within the exclusive discretion and powers of the municipal prosecutor. It is before a quasi-criminal court, namely our municipal court. As such, it's not something that the council or the administration can be involved in at the present time. My understanding of those proceedings is that they were suspended pending the various applications that were going to be made. Again, depending upon the outcome of the farm application, not only will the township's zoning enforcement abilities be potentially limited, but it may also moot any criminal prosecutions before the municipal court. So from the standpoint of the council and the administration, the only thing that can be done right now is to wait.
Is there anything that we can do in the meantime to continue to document these activities?
Well, I mean, with all due respect, that would be the equivalent of me giving legal advice to a private citizen, which I shouldn't do. I will say that you still have your rights as a private citizen to make any recommendations or notes or confirmation of actions at the site that you choose to make. I can't recommend that you do that or not do that. And I think that anybody who is interested in this project should make an effort to keep themselves informed of the farm proceedings that are proceeding at the county and or state level.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. You go to the next person.
Iacofano?
Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized. You're out of order. Go to the next person. Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized. You're out of order.
Mr. Iacofano?
Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized. You're out of order. Please go to the next person. Please act in a
Tideman.
professional manner.
Tideman, you're unmuted.
Thank you. So I have already spoken with the Morris County Agriculture Development Board.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Could you just state your name and address for the record?
Sure. Janet Tideman at 125 Jacobs Road.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. I've spoken with the Morris County Agriculture Development Board because I wanted to understand whether we really did need to wait to see whether some of these activities would fall under the Protection of the Right to Farm Act. And they were very clear with me that anything that's not farm related, they will not make a determination on. 99% of the activities that are currently happening at 91 Jacobs Road, they will not make a determination on at all. It could be months before they hear this and to decide whether or not anything will be protected. But at that point, the only things they will protect are either specific farming activities or activities that are specific to marketing the commercial output of the farm. They have very clear rules that you can read on the website of the state of New Jersey for what is covered by right to farm. None of what we are seeing, except for selling eggs, falls anywhere under those categories. So this is going to go to the Morris County Agriculture Board, and then it's going to come right back. And we tried to have this conversation with the Board of Adjustment. They sent us to you. They specifically said in the meeting 2 weeks ago that we all attended that you need to take this to the mayor and council because they are the ones who have the authority to stop these people from doing illegal things in your neighborhood.
Mr. Iacofano, I'll pick up. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Tideman.
Okay, I just really hope that we're not going to say that we're in the same situation we've been in for a year and a half. This is getting ridiculous.
So, Mr. Iacofano?
Council President, the only comment I can make is that nobody from the Board of Adjustment, including their attorney, Mr. Bell, has communicated anything like that to the administration or to myself or Mr. Perone. I would be happy to reach out for Mr. Bell and confirm what the, assuming something like that was said at the meeting, what was the intent of the Board of Adjustment. But as I said earlier, the jurisdiction, as far as the Board of Adjustment's jurisdiction to decide, the application before the Board of Adjustment was a two-part application. It's for an interpretation of the ordinance, the land use ordinance as it applies to that property, and for various variance relief. it is not a subject that the council or the administration can intrude on at this point. So I'm a little bit mystified about what that statement allegedly made by the Board of Adjustment was intended to make. I'll be more than happy to reach out tomorrow and see if I can get some clarification. But that's
Well, I'm sure we could clarify, if you'd like us to clarify what the statement was about. It wasn't about them going for a variance. Yes, that would be under the jurisdiction of the Board of Adjustment. It was about stopping someone from breaking ordinances that are the law of this town every single day and getting away with it. That's what we asked about.
I appreciate your understanding of that, and I hope you'll appreciate that. I need to clarify that with the board's attorney. It'd be unfair to the applicant and ultimately unfair to any opponents of this use if I didn't take that step. And I'd be happy to do that at the council or the mayor's discretion.
Thanks, Mr. Yachvano.
Ms. Tideman, did you have any further comment?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tybin.
Jay Rivera?
No comment, thank you.
Jackie?
No further comments at this time.
James Waters?
Jim Waters, 48 Seneca Avenue. I'd like to wish our Jewish friends on the council a happy Hanukkah. Best wishes for the new year. And that's it. Thank you.
Jeff Will? Jim Nielsen?
I think I'd like to just reiterate what Janet Tideman said. I agree with it every bit of the way. I see clear violations every day.
I'm sorry, Mr. Nielsen. Could you just give us your address too, please?
Sorry, 130 Jacobs Road.
Thank you.
Okay. There are clear violations of the law every day, and I don't understand what that has to do with searching for permission to have a farm there. It's just beyond me. So I'm expressing exactly what Janet Tideman is. I'm reiterating, I guess.
Okay.
And that was all I'd have to say.
Thank you.
Lily?
Hi, Lily Sweet One Oakland Avenue. Listening to the Bates Road seems
Lily, I can't hear you.
oh gosh.
Okay,
I hear
now
you
we
now.
can.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
It's Lily Sweet One Oakland Avenue. Listening to the people on Bates Road, they're crying out to you saying there's something illegal going on in their neighborhood. And you just seem to be just bypassing it and not looking into something that's illegal. That's all I have to say on this subject.
Thank you, Lou.
Lisa Caslow?
Yes, I would like to comment. My name is Lisa Caslow. I live at 83 Jacobs Road. I share more than 385 lineal feet of property line with residents at 91 Jacobs Road. I would like to inform the council of the various activities that they may not be aware of that I've documented thoroughly, including starting on July 30th, 2021, where the property at 91 Jacobs Road was rented out repeatedly over the summer, but specifically I have photographs because they created fires in the backyard there that are next to my property line of strangers camping on the property with tents, large Weber grills filled with charcoal and sprayed with gasoline, making enormous flames, with wood fires and people staying overnight on my property line. I have horses in that backyard that I keep. They were freaked out. They were running all over the place. This behavior is completely unacceptable. I don't think you would want somebody camping in your backyard or right next to your backyard. They advertised relentlessly over the summer at $45 a night on their website, camp at Beautiful Farm. I think you need to be aware of the ruse and ploys that this is somehow a working farm. My husband and I, who are on 3.4 acres, grow more vegetables that could feed the whole neighborhood than these people next door who sell a few dozen eggs and have evening wine and ride parties, okay? Advertised at $60 a person. Bring your own beer. We'll shoot off firecrackers for you for your entertainment, like it's somehow the rural Disneyland. It's appalling, okay? It happens frequently, especially in good weather. Additionally, to service all of the people that come to their various venues that are not farm related and that are illegal and that I'm sure you wouldn't tolerate in your backyard, they built their own illegal outhouse to quote unquote, by Christy Kane Sammy, we have so many students and people coming in and out of the farm. This is for them. This is a 2-bedroom home with a small septic system on very sensitive wetlands. They were shut down, but there was no enforcement until we complained and complained. Okay, Wine and Ride on October 23rd. They have this giant lighting system in their backyard on their barn that illuminates my entire property and that of Karen and Tom Will, as well as Jim McCardle's property. This is not an airport with lights on it for landings. These are lights for their entertainment, for their riding their horses and their parties where they have people drink and ride horses and then subsequently shoot off fireworks. I have pictures of it. Additionally, they have wine and cheese parties and all kinds of sip and groom and go for a ride and bonfire with Christy and friends. It is an awesome time. $60 per person, up to 10 adults welcome. First come, first serve. Limited availability. DM me for details. Okay, then more outrageously, they're renting their farm out for photo shoots. Okay, and using my property, my family, my horses, my dogs, my architecture for their backdrop for wedding photographs. On October 17th, they had a huge photo shoot. They had been advertising photo shoots. They've been advertising for photographers to come to the property, family photo sessions on Facebook, a charge of over $125 a session. Okay, hey, photographer friends looking to do family photo shoots on a farm, PM me if you want in. Okay, you know, each session, $150 per session for 45 minutes on October 24th. I have photos of these things. This is my yard, my privacy, my repose that's being impacted by these people who think that they're going to monetize every aspect of this little 10-acre parcel because they're calling it a farm. It is not a farm. It's a hullabaloo kind of party event center for birthday parties, for weddings, for drinking rides. Okay, it's beyond belief. Okay, how would you like that in your backyard? Additionally, they love bonfires and they burn a lot of wood that is not contained in a fire pit on their property. One of our neighbors next door on the other side had to call the police because they were open burning on their property. They open burned in the riding arena. There was a tree they didn't want. They poured gasoline in it. My whole house filled up with smoke because of their arrogance and their way of managing the land. This is the 21st century. It's not the Amazon jungle. You don't burn with gasoline. And then the nerve of the guy, Mr. Kane, who says he's a volunteer firefighter for Mountain Lakes and that he knows how to contain fires. That's the hubris that causes entire communities to lose their homes. It's outrageous.
Ms. Caslow, I
Yes.
appreciate your feedback. I understand your frustration. And allowed you a couple extra minutes. I just want to again ask Mr. Yachfano to clarify, like, is there anything you're hearing that the council can get involved and do anything or have any involvement in what's going on?
Let me say, Council President, that every resident who is concerned about the use of this property certainly has the ability to be in touch with our code enforcement department and communicate to that department everything and more that is being communicated to the council and administration at this meeting tonight. Absent, a review of that information directly communicated to the appropriate enforcing authority, which would be code enforcement, I'm sorry, but it would be inappropriate to comment further at this time.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that everybody should be contacting our code enforcement officers.
What can they do to enforce?
Again, that depends upon the information they get, the results of any subsequent inspections and investigations that have to be undertaken. Beyond that, the determination of enforcement or non-enforcement is something that would have to be considered once that process was followed through.
Okay, thank you. Go on to the next caller, Ms. Clipperton.
How do I do? Great.
Tom Will.
Hello, everybody. I completely agree with Lisa. My property has a 125-foot line along with this in the corner of my property in the back.
Mr. Will, could you please state your address? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
71 Jacobs Road.
Thank
I've lived
you.
at 71 Jacobs Road since 1980. On the Will Farm, been on Jacob Road since 1956. I'm a long-term resident. Never had anything like this happen before. Well, we've had other farm people on this property, had cows, horses, chickens, pigs, and everything. Never anything like this. Okay? Overnight campsites, some of those people trespassed on our property and left their garbage. We don't want 91 Jacob Road to turn into a public campsite. Okay? There's also the bring your own booze, wine, and beer tastings with lots of noise. I have a, what do you call it, thing that flies in the air, lights up a drone, lights up the place. And there's additional noise at some activities because they have these yoga things where people let out all their emotions. So they're screaming and yelling and hollering during the night. So who wants that as a next door neighbor? Now, yoga is not part of farming. No way. So also, Lisa mentioned the floodlight. We've got this powerful floodlight on a 25-foot pole. Shines directly towards our house. Now, because our house is in line with their property. Our house is back off the road. Originally, it was shined so bright, it was like a white, blue kind of light. Shined in our garage. So when you walked out, it blinded you. So we went over and complained about it. They said they were going to aim it in a different direction, but they never did that. But what they did do, though, is they reduced the intensity to like a bright, sunny yellow. It improved a little bit. But it still lights everything up. But it never changed direction. The dogs are always out, too. They were just out the other day here. Big dogs they have. They bother our horses. We have horses too, like Lisa. You know, we actually have a farm, grow things. So, no, this is just totally unacceptable, as far as I can say. That's about it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Will.
Welcome.
Call-in user 5. Call-in user 6. Heather Teeter.
I'm caller user 5. I'm right here.
All right, he's not recognized. Go into Heather Teeter.
I'm caller number 5.
Heather
Sorry,
Teeter,
there was
you're
some static. I
unmuted.
couldn't tell if you called on me or.
Yes, Miss Teeter, you're unmuted.
Sure. So I don't have much to add as far as what's going on. Oh, sorry, I'm at 127 Jacobs Road. I don't have much to add as far as what has been going on at the property of 91 Jacobs Road. I just want to reiterate that really what everyone is asking for is enforcement. Because I know many have been calling and have been trying to get remedy for the issues going on there. And we just feel that there's been a lack of enforcement. So anyone that could help push along enforcement of the calls that have been going in to complain, that would be appreciated.
Thank you.
You passed me, Mr. Jackson.
You're a member of the council, Mr. Kelly. We've
I
been
was a
through this
member of the
before.
public.
Go ahead.
Lisa Salberg, I've sent you an unmute request. Lisa, you're unmuted.
Thank you, no comment, sorry.
Thank you. Mary. Mary, you're unmuted.
I don't think so.
Mary. Rich. Rich, you're unmuted.
Yeah, I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Rich Hartunian. I lived at 87 Jacobs Road for 25 years, which is next door to 91. Moved away to Boonton several years ago, but I know the neighborhood well, and I know the neighbors well.
I think we need, and I'm not sure, but Ms. Clipperton, do we need his current address?
Yes.
175A Chestnut Street in Boonton.
Thank you.
Sure. So I guess my only statement is hearing all of the issues, and I've been in touch with the Board of Adjustment. I'm very familiar with how the boards works, having sat on the planning board for a while. The way the folks are being kind of steered from one committee to the next and now back to code, it's really getting frustrating to a lot of folks. I do believe that and I'm familiar with, requests for farming easements, et cetera. I'd really like to get a commitment from someone to help these folks steer them through the coding department so they can get the right message for the enforcement that the last caller specified. That's where they need the help.
Right.
And I appreciate, John, what you're saying about, yes, we need the information, we need the document, the council can do X amount. Totally agree, of course. But they just need guidance. And if someone would just take the ball and help them go here, ask this. We know what you're, of course, review the information. You're hearing it, but you do have to review it and see it. And
Right.
Lisa, I believe, has some good documentation. I think that'd go a long way to helping these folks because that is a rural, quiet area. I mean, they'd have to do traffic studies. They'd have to do, all of the land use. They have to do a lot of things to get through the board. And honestly, I doubt they're going to get there. But the fact that they're postponing by going to the county, which you know how long it takes to get on that calendar, they're going to continue running this business without any repercussions for the regulations that they're breaking. So if someone would take that ball, I'd appreciate it. And I think all would.
Yeah. So, did you have anything else you want to say, Rich?
No. Thanks very much, Joe.
So, Mrs. Seeger, I'll call on you first. We talked about guidance and where they can call and who you can guide them through. Who should all these citizens be reaching out to?
The zoning department, and the telephone number is 973-983-2818.
They've been doing that.
Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized.
And there has been some summons issued, and they only can do what they can do, but they will investigate the phone calls, and they take time, unfortunately.
Miss Seeger, can you
Thank you.
repeat that number?
It's 973-983-2818. Mr. Yachafano, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Just one thing, and this would apply, uniformly to any conduct that any resident believes is inappropriate in almost any circumstance. People need to understand that our code inspectors are very diligent. They work very hard in the town the size of Rockaway Township, and they really are committed to what they're supposed to be doing, and they do it. But for things like bonfires, excess noise, things of that nature, the police department is 24/7. And I've dealt with the chief on many matters. I've always found to be extremely responsive. And any township resident who has a concern about anything, including matters of this nature, can always call the police department for immediate intervention.
Thank you, Mr. Yachafano.
You're welcome, sir.
Next caller, Chrissy.
William Fiore. I've sent the unmute request.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Fiore doesn't seem to be unmuting himself. I'm just going to refresh and make sure no one else is logged in.
Okay.
I don't have anyone new. That's it.
Mrs. Seeger, have we gotten any emails subsequent to the start of the open to public?
Not at this time, sir.
Next is our consent agenda. We have A, which is R21-179, B, which is R21-180, C, which is R21-181, D, which is R21-182, E, which is R21-183, and F, which is R21-184. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
I'm sorry, was somebody speaking? That's Mr. Quinn and Mr. Friedlander.
I just wanted to say one thing with removing two items, Council President. Just
What
remove R21-180 for discussion, separate vote, and R21-182 for discussion, separate vote.
Okay, so let's take the roll call on R21-179, R21-181, R21-183, and R21-184. Clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Go ahead, Mr. Kelly. Let's start with R21-180 that you are to discuss.
Just real quick, who actually drafted the resolution for this on R21-180?
What does that have to do with voting on the item?
Because it's a question I have. I just want
Yeah,
to
but it has nothing to do with voting on the item.
So, President, you know what? We go back and forth with this every single time. It's a simple question. Rather than argue with me, we could have already had an answer and moved on.
Well, we shouldn't even be asking the question. We could have voted on this item already. What does that matter to voting on this item?
Mr. Iacofano, as a town attorney, did you?
Council President, it's not germane to the.
He
voting on the
wasn't
item as
noticing.
stated.
You know what, Mr. Puzio, don't interrupt. You weren't recognized. You're
Puzio.
guest.
All right. Do you have anything else you want to talk about with that, Mr. Kelly?
The $60 that we have here for this resolution that we were adding on, it appears that it costs more money for the mistake to have the attorneys draft this resolution and put it on the agenda for $60 mistake. Can we be a little bit more better with our pen when it comes to the numbers so we don't have this issue and waste money?
What you have to talk about R21-182?
The total amount that we have here for the improvements for the project with Peterson Field is $2,644,769.25. Mr. Jackson, are you aware? Because I'm not sure of what all of this money is being put towards. I mean, they talk about some turf fields, but could you just give us a little bit of an introduction of what's being spent, what this money is used?
Why don't you, Mr. Kelly? I mean, I looked at the bid. I don't have it in front of me. I looked at the proposal for the bid and what's being done. I don't have it in front of me. I guess if you would have asked me and given a professional courtesy before the meeting.
If you read the bid, since this just.
What do you have, Mr. Kelly? What's your question?
My question is, what is the money? Since you reviewed the bid, you're the perfect person to ask.
I don't have it in front of me.
But you don't remember? I mean, we're talking.
No, I don't have a memory like that, like you, like every number and every digit and all that stuff. I don't.
I appreciate.
I questioned where the money was coming from. I did ask those questions and how we were funding everything.
I saw the ordinances that apparently somebody was going through archive records to find all that information. But the one thing is, though, we got almost $2.7 million, and you can't tell me what that's for. Like, is it?
It's for improvements to Peterson Field, Mr. Kelly.
Well, just define that. You know,
my job isn't to sit here and answer your question and provide a presentation.
Okay,
If you wanted that, you should have asked for that from administration. Mr. Kelly would have asked for that. Would you have been prepared to talk about that?
Council President, can I speak?
Yeah, you can speak. You're recognized.
Council President, a few of the council people, past and present, when they have questions that they want a breakdown of individual items, bid specs after the bid has been accepted and adopted, all they have to do is send me an email, make a phone call. Mr. Kritz has done it numerous times to get clarification, to get detail prior to a meeting. As I said before, numerous times, it's very difficult to produce facts and figures on the fly, and it's really not. It's not proper. It's not good business to be, I hate to use this word, but sucker punched to produce documentation that could have been produced prior with a little bit of dialogue and a little collaboration prior to the meeting.
He's just trying to discredit people. That's all he's about. Do you have anything of material meaning that you have? We lost Mr. Kelly. His flip phone must have got disconnected. I don't know where he went. Do we have anybody on the line that's familiar with 1980s technology that can help possibly?
Joe, I'd like to make a motion to approve these two resolutions.
I'll second that.
We will need to do them individually, please.
Okay, so R2180, Mr. Sackett, and who seconded?
Jack Quinn.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Iacofano, what should we do about Mr. Kelly dropping off?
Well, we don't know at this point if it was voluntary or involuntary. I would suggest that we take a minute and ask the clerk to call him, see if he responds to the telephone call.
Okay.
Go from there.
Can you do that, Ms. Clipperton?
Yes. Hello?
My video's not there and my unmute button will not unmute at all.
I don't see you on the
I
meeting.
see everybody that's here. I see Mr. Jackson's smile. I see, my name is right up in the upper left corner.
He's
We
just
can't
coming.
see
He's just
him.
come.
I don't see him anywhere.
He just came back. His video
There
should
he
be.
is on the
I
top.
see your name listed.
There he is.
So I still have, am I back on here now?
Yes.
Yeah, just not your video. We can hear you. We can't see your video.
There he
There
is.
you go. Now we can see you.
I wasn't, if I can get back to my time and my questions that was on there. I know Mr. Sackett made a motion to move forward. But again, if Mrs.
Well, we're going to vote on R21-180 first. So,
Well, we're
clerk,
not
you take
done
the
with,
roll
we can
call.
vote on them as a,
The
we're not
clerk
done with
wants to vote them on separately, so
R21-182.
we're voting on R21-180 first. Clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly?
I'm sorry, where are we again?
We're voting on R21-180.
For the $60, even though it's more money to put this
Yeah,
together.
yes,
but
no, or abstain.
Don't tell me to abstain, Mr. Jackson.
Yes, no, or abstain, I said.
You know how you do it.
Yep, open your ears.
No, open yours.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the 182, again.
Are you voting on 180? We're voting on 180.
180.
What?
I did.
Well, everybody's got to vote.
I understand that.
Go ahead, Ms. Clipperton.
And Mr. Kelly, I did not hear your vote. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry for the actual interference, Mr. Jackson. I said yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Quinn?
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander?
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz?
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Councilmember Noon? Councilmember Noon?
She said yes.
Vice President Sackett?
Yes.
President Jackson?
Yes, or 21-180 is passed.
With 9 yes votes.
9 yes votes, sorry.
It's okay.
Anybody else have feedback on R21-182?
Yeah, I do. So on 182, Council President, maybe Mrs. Ferrante, since she's involved in a vital component of it, if she can tell us what the $2.7 million is being utilized for. Is it a new ball field? Is it football turf? Is it grading, excavation? Is there some components of our DPW that may be doing some of the preliminary work, maybe demolition, rough grade, removing of some items that are there that could reduce the costs for these improvements that are going on?
Council President, are you done, Mr. Kelly?
No, I'm not done.
Okay.
Well, yeah, he is now. You're recognized.
I'm not.
You're recognized. Mr. Kelly, you're done. I'm not recognizing you any longer. Mr. Mayor, if you'd like to speak, you can go ahead.
Yes, I'll answer that question. We don't need Ms. Ferrante to answer that.
Of course not. We have an engineer answer.
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order. Stop speaking.
I have the engineer.
Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized. Stop speaking. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. That 2.644,769.25 is going to be spent on Peterson, P1 and 2. We had engineering specs done. We went out to bid. The engineering specs, the bid package has been posted. It's open for public review. It'll give the public the detail as to where that money's going, what improvements are being made. In fact, Mr. Kritz asked for a copy of that today, a breakdown of that prior to the meeting, so he could be informed and know where that money's going. Other council people have reached out to me, and we've discussed this in terms of who got the award and so on and so forth. So that material, I'm not going to give you a breakdown and sit here for a half hour and give you a breakdown of what improvements in terms of trenching and in terms of irrigation, in terms of the type of turf and how the engineering and topography is going to be dealt with. I'm not going to do that. You can take a look at that breakdown of that bid. The public has access to it, and anyone who's interested can see where that money's going. Thank you.
So can I have a motion to approve or to vote on R 21-182?
Motion.
Yes, so
Mr.
moved.
President,
Mr. Quinn, and who seconded?
I got a motion. I have a motion right now, Council
Mr.
President.
Kritz. Well, we already have a motion on the floor. We're going to vote
No, you
on.
didn't make the motion yet. Nobody seconded anything.
Yeah,
I have
Mr.
a
Quinn and
motion
Mr. Kritz. Mr. Quinn and Mr. Kritz. So
motion to put this,
clerk, take the roll call, please.
I have a motion, Mr. President.
There's a motion on the floor we're
You
voting
have
on.
another preliminary motion that's there. Mrs. Clipperding can assist you. Mr. Jackson, I have a motion and I'll
What's
make
your
the-
motion, Mr. Kelly?
Thank you. Since it's a $2.7 million budget amount, I make a motion to put this on referendum. Let the voters decide if we're going to.
Anybody want to second that motion? Nope. Clerk, take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
No.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes, that's 8 yeses, 1 no. Motion carries. Next are council appointments. We have firefighters, Daniel Lovenberg, and EMS, Daniel Lovenberg and Aiden Donnelly.
Motion. Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Kelly and Mr. Quinn, to approve the council appointments of Daniel Lovenberg as firefighter and Daniel Lovenberg and Aiden Donnelly as EMS. Clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes, and congratulations.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Congratulations to our new volunteers. Next is old business, new business, and reports. Every council member will get 5 minutes to go through these items. I'll start with Mr. Quinn.
Thank you, Council President. Football program is winding down. The cheerleaders have had a good year. Everybody, thank God, has been safe, even with this crazy COVID stuff. Everybody has been safe. I want to thank Rabbi Hershon and Rabbi Baumgartner for the lighting of the menorah last night. My grandkids had a great time there. It was fun. And happy Hanukkah to all my Jewish friends, and happy holidays to everybody else that does celebrate the coming holidays. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Mr. Friedlander.
Hey, good evening. Thank you. Couple reports on what's going on. The Historical Society, with the Ford Face House had an open house this past month. They had tour events, and believe it, they were pretty much 50 people that went through the tours of the Ford Face House. They also had incidentals and things donated that were for sale, and it was a beautiful day, even though we had a little snowstorm in between. But 50 people, it was well appreciated. The Substance Abuse Council had another meeting last night, and we discussed the programs for next year. We're looking into, again, having the program at Copeland, and we're getting people interested in coming down to talk about substance abuse. And then there's going to be, like I said, there's 4 phases, and I'll discuss them as it is stated. Library, everything's going good at the library. If you try to get into the Hibernia branch, there was a hiccup with the heating system, but I want to thank the library board and the administration for jumping on top of it, and should be working fairly soon. And that's it. Again, thank you, Rabbi, for the Hanukkah celebration last night. It was a great turnout for the third. It is now the third night of Hanukkah, so enjoy the continuous till we hit the end, and the celebration will continue for our Christmas celebrations. And we'll see you there. That's it, Council President, from my reports.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Kelly?
You're on mute.
Thank you, Mr. Fritz. We have an internal posting that was put up that expired today with regard to the superintendent of water and sewer for the Township of Rockaway. And in that internal posting that was supposed to be posted in the administration department, police department, road department, water, sewer, and parks and rec, some places it was never identified to be posted, but regardless, in here it says the requirements that we have is a certified New Jersey state water operator with a grade license T2, W2, and a C2. And it also says here of the requirements with a CDL and any applicable endorsements. When I'm looking at the resume of the person that was hired, and by the way,
Council President,
I'm not mentioning
You're
names.
recognized, Mr. Yachibano.
there
I'm
should
talking
be
about a
absolutely
position.
no discussion about any individuals. It's a personnel exception.
It's not. It's open
Can't be
public
tolerated.
record. But what I
Mr.
ask
Kelly,
is, what I
that's
ask
my
is,
ruling, Mr. Kelly.
how does an individual get hired without the requirements in the job posting that we have? I mean, on page 22 of our policy and personnel manual, it's very clear that we have to have the requirements for that posting of that position. Now, the other thing that's concerning to me is the individual that had the position, who had 29 years of service of sewers and water, leaving at $118,000. This new person that doesn't have anywhere close to the experience or the certification is hired at $123,000, and an email with his resume and everything else comes in after he was hired. Now, the funny thing is, the new hire, the family owns a business, Agra, that currently has been in contract with Rockaway for $45,123 as of November 1st. Also, the applicant and the owner of Agra are neighbors to our administrator, friends of our administrator. So I'm a little concerned how this position was filled based on the individual's own resume, showing that he doesn't have the certifications that are required
Council
in our
President.
posting.
Yep, you're recognized, Mr. Yachibano.
This discussion should be foreclosed. It is inappropriate.
So my
Mr.
next
Kelly, move on to other matters,
my
Mr.
next
Kelly.
order of business. Within the month of November, there was just a published ruling from the local finance board. And the ruling was a charge against a councilman in New Jersey that was fined $2,300 for appointing his wife to positions that they either are on different boards and received monetary gain. On numerous occasions, Mr. Yachafano, sitting councilman, Mr. Salberg, Adam Salberg for the record, voted in favor for his wife for positions that she's getting compensated for from Rockaway Township. I simply ask you, what do you do? He's done this repeatedly after being warned. He's also assisted his wife on an appeal when he was acting mayor in a matter that was appealed on C-100-18. Not to mention, there's even a potential moral turpitude issue that Mr. Salberg's got from a charge of forgery, right, Adam, that you had? I think you were fined $2,000, which is in violation of the municipal charter law in order to hold office. So with that being said, Mr. Yachafano, what do we do in relation to that with the local finance board and obvious violation of conflict of interest with Mr. Salberg. Mr. Yatrafano?
Council President, would you like me to respond?
You're
Yes,
not going to take up my time now.
you're recognized. You have 1 minute, Mr. Kelly. Go ahead, Mr.
If you
Yachafano.
can save my minute.
Mr. Kelly, the information that you just saw fit to enunciate before the public and the council.
It's all public record, Mr. Yatrafano.
How long have you had this information, Mr. Kelly?
You know what? I just got it since after the last meeting when we were addressing all that. And this recent posting that came up from the local finance board had just happened within the last 4 days.
So you had it since the last meeting, I take it?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you ever seek to get to request through the administration an opinion on your allegations?
I asked you personally, Mr. Yatrafano, and you wouldn't answer me. It's in the minutes that we just approved tonight.
You asked me personally.
I asked you personally in the minutes tonight that we approved. So you were aware of my question. Is that correct, Mr. Yatrafano?
No, Mr. Kelly, I'm not aware of
Mr.
anything.
Yatrafano,
And
did
quite
you hear
frankly,
what I
I'm not
asked you
going to
that
base
question?
any opinion on any fact
Mr.
that you
Yatrafano,
enunciate.
did you hear?
I have nothing else, Council President.
Thank you.
Mr. Kelly, you got 1 minute.
I do. You know, Council President, I think the members of the public that are up on Jacobs Road, they were asking some pretty easy questions. You know, if it was related to somebody else or somebody that you didn't like or whatever, you probably would have answered. The concern that I have here is, though, the mayor has actually used these facilities. His family members have gone to these facilities. There's even speculation that he's even provided anonymously money for their fund to fight these legal bills, him or his family member. I think what the members and the public are trying to look for is some type of relief, because there's another concern that we haven't mentioned tonight. If we, as the township and our town attorneys, as well as our zoning officer, doesn't do something in regards to this, because I don't even recall a stay being requested by the defendants in regards to the issues they have. What if something catastrophically happens because the township failed to do something? Who is liable? There's already been incidents where children have been hurt and maimed by the animals themselves. It's been documented through police reports and our Board of Health and Animal Control. So if we as a council or the township or the administration or the mayor who actually loves this place doesn't do something, is there a potential risk of us having a liability of not doing our due diligence to perhaps minimize life or limb, to minimize anything that could happen impacting these innocent people, let alone the residents around there?
All right, Mr. Kelly, your time's up. You're no longer recognized. Mr. Kritz, you're up.
Hi, yeah, just a couple things. One, I also had the similar questions about the improvements at Peterson Field. I asked for and was provided the publicly available documents, and I am, in a word, just thrilled for what this town is going to be getting. If the basketball courts and tennis courts are any indication, it is going to be a first-class facility. I like to start referring to it as a new center of town. It's just going to be unbelievable. I wish my kids, were a little bit younger. They're going to age out of the sports programs by the time everything is done. But first class facilities, the same thing we see in other towns, and it's really going to be something to be proud of. That being said, if any residents do want to see it, this is publicly available information. And all you need to do is request.
That's why you had to ask for it.
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order. You're not recognized. Good, Mr. Kritz.
Thanks. Like Mr. Quinn said, football is done, with the except the varsity dinner we have is next week. Looking forward to seeing the council and mayor there. The Rockets were able to have their powder puff game, which is a nice tradition. It came back. I want to thank again Mr. Swanton and his whole crew for keeping the field together just a little bit longer, so the boys and girls could get that game in. I believe it was like the next day or the day after that they went down in and they took the field down, which was just exceptional for them to help out the kids to leave that up. The Renegades have an indoor lacrosse clinic that starts on the 12th. My two girls will be attending. It's indoors at Mars Hills. I think it goes until March. It's every Sunday, and it's ridiculously inexpensive. I think it's $25. And they even give you a sibling discount. So the kids looking forward to going to there. After taking a year off, basketball is back. So the rec practices start this week. Travel practices started a week or two ago. Really looking forward to getting back into the swing of things with basketball. And then again, I want to thank the Chabad and Rabbi Herson and Rabbi B for coming out. Those, that the whole group does a great job. The municipal building is not the only menorah lighting. There was one at White Meadow Lake. The rest of this week, there is one at the mall. There's one in Lake Telemark. So look at the Chabad website. You will see all the dates and locations. You do not need to be Jewish to attend. It is a great time. The kids have a lot of fun. There's donuts, there's latkes. It's really, really nice what the Chabad does there. So I want to thank them. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Salberg?
Yes, report from our county commissioners. Resolution was approved for improvements to the bridge on Meriden Road over Beaverbrook. They're going to be investing about $828,000 into those improvements. Obviously, it's a very important spot, being a C1 waterway, so I'm sure every care will be taken to make sure that the waterways are taken care of. As let's see here. Of course, the Hanukkah Lighting, which was, again, always a wonderful event. It was great to see everybody out there, and happy Hanukkah to all my friends. And of course, as Councilman Friedlander mentioned, the Feish House really was a great event. For anybody that hasn't been there, it really is a gem for our town and really for the state. A lot of history. I can really find out about, what was really in the birth of our town. So I strongly recommend everybody to go on out there. Beyond that, happy holidays to all. And again, please stay safe.
Thank you. Mr. Brooks?
Thank you, Council President. First and foremost, happy Hanukkah to all my Jewish friends out there and family members. Also wanted to just let everyone know that they are doing the milling and paving on Mount Hope Road. I know there's been a lot of stuff on Facebook that people are having to have some detours and everything, so just be aware of that and make sure the kids going to high school leave in enough time because it was pretty backed up this morning. Also wanted to just wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and I'm going to keep it short at that.
Thank you. Miss Noon?
Yes, just a couple things. First and foremost, I wanted to everyone happy Hanukkah. I have a little bit of a head cold, so Birchwood Firehouse is doing Toys for Tots. They will be collecting toys tomorrow night from 6 to 8 at the firehouse, and that's the last time they're collecting. So you could drop off toys at the Birchwood Firehouse between 6 and 8 tomorrow. The blood drive that we had was a huge success. Our goal was 40 donors. We got 41 through the door, which was great. So thank you, everyone. Howard was there. The mayor was there. I was there. Firefighters came. It was a great success, and I want to thank everyone who helped to set up and break down, and a special thank you to Patrick Grease from the town. He did a lot of hard work. And then I'm just going to say ditto to the Ford Feish House open house. Manny covered it and Adam covered it. It was a great time, and also the menorah lighting was a great time. And that's it. Thank you.
Nice. Vice President Sackett?
Thank you, Council President. Just want to wish, I think he's still on, happy belated birthday to Jim Waters. So happy birthday, Jim. Also, yeah, there was a couple nice events for Hanukkah. Sunday night, for the first night, they had a menorah lighting down at the White Meadow Lake Clubhouse, which was a great time. They had menorah lighting, they had a magician. It was packed, so great to see everyone out on Sunday. And then last night down at Town Hall, at the Municipal Building for the menorah lighting. Maybe that's where Mary got her head cold. It was a little cold last night. So great to see everyone out. Friday night, I know, was the Christmas tree lighting down at Park Lake Gazebo in the Senior Center. I heard there's a rumor maybe a special appearance by Santa Claus. So that's Friday night at 6:30. And like Howard said, basketball, travel teams, both the Rockaway travel teams were down in Mountainside over the weekend for a turkey trot tournament. My team didn't fare too well, but some of our other teams did very well. So it's great to see everyone back out on the courts and looking forward to a great season for all sports, and everyone have a great Christmas and good holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you. For myself, had a good time at the Hanukkah celebration last night. I did want to let the rabbi know that I gave my dimes away. I gave one to charity and one to somebody that was a stranger. I want to commend, I think, Dave Swanton's crew set it up. Sue Gabe did a great job organizing all the activities last night at the event. So it was well done. And as Mr. Brooks said, the road repairs, I would definitely go on our website in the alert center. A lot of times on the top, you'll see the updates for different road work going on, water main things, anything like that. If you go to our website, and specifically if you sign up for the rave alerts, you'll get texts when things happen, when roads are being closed. But besides the milling and all that, there's a lot of lines going up in town, and it seems like in every town in Morris County, there's a lot of line work going on right now. So be careful when you're driving out there. Mr. Mayor, I'll turn it over to you for any report.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I just want to report on a few items. I just want to make the council aware that our town attorneys, an issue was brought up that a resolution may have cost more to do than the $60 saving. I just want to remind the council, and this goes on with our town attorneys, you know, our main legal staff, Yachafano and Perone, they can donate a considerable amount of time.
No, they don't.
They
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order. You're not recognized. You're childish. Please stop. You're out of order. You're not recognized.
So I just want to.
True, Mr.
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order. You're not recognized.
You know, I want to thank Mr. Kelly for reminding me that when that issue was brought up tonight, they donate a lot of time to the town, phone calls on the weekends.
Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized. You're out of order.
Thank you, Council President.
You got two.
Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized. You're out of order.
Can we please mute him? I would like to speak.
Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized. You're out of order.
Very rude. I let him speak.
I got a motion.
It's okay. He'll get his fight. No, somebody has the floor.
I got a motion.
Somebody has the floor, Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly, somebody has the floor.
Thank
you. Mr. Yachafano, what's protocol?
I have a motion.
The protocol is he hasn't stated a motion which would include any point of preference. You should let the speaker finish.
Okay.
I have a motion.
Mr. Mayor, please finish.
So with respect to that, I want to thank Mr. Kelly for bringing that up, reminding me.
Mr. Kelly, you're not recognized. You're out of order.
Yachafano and Perone donate a lot of time to the town. They're available all the time. We all know that they are available to answer questions for the council. For the council people, many of you have reached out to them to ask questions for clarification prior to meetings.
My motion is to
during meetings.
Kelly, you're out of order.
I have a motion.
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order.
Fantastic job for us.
Mr. Yachafano told me to make the motion.
No, he didn't. Please, you're out of order. Wait until Mr. Puzio yields the floor, and then you can make your motion.
He's not going to yield the floor.
Yes, he is. Mr. Puzio's going to finish his report, and then you can make your motion.
Mr. Kelly, please respect my time. I respect
you. You don't respect mine. Be honest about the billing.
Oh, Mr. Kelly, you're out of order again.
So I just want to make that very clear. All of you know this already for that they donate a lot of time to the town.
They don't.
Many times,
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order.
Many times I speak with them and they're like, and they work on something and they'll tell me that they're not going to bill for it. And I appreciate that. So they do a lot of work for the town.
You have two attorneys here tonight.
Well, Kelly, you're out of order.
They do a lot of work.
Two attorneys here tonight.
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order.
Why are two attorneys here?
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order.
Mr. hasn't said anything.
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order.
And to do a report. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly, make your motion.
My motion is
done.
My motion.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Not done. I would like to finish.
To investigate the hiring practice of the superintendent.
All right, there you go. There's your motion. It's not seconded. Go ahead, Mr. Puzio.
You didn't even call for a second.
I'm trying to speak, Mr. Kelly. Please have some respect.
Your Jackson gave me the floor. I'm sorry.
Please.
Yell at your friend.
You're done. Does anybody want to second that? No. Okay, Mr. Mayor, you have the floor. Mr. Kelly, you're no longer recognized.
So
my next motion.
I just want to reach out.
A mockery of the township, Mr. Kelly. You're an embarrassment. You're embarrassing your family, yourself, the township. You're a total embarrassment.
That you just don't care about it.
In January, when you have your 5 minutes, weep about it then. But right now, you're embarrassing yourself.
My next motion, President.
Mr.
someone
Puzio,
mute
you
him?
know, Mr. Puzio, I'm sorry, I'm gonna tell you that your report's over because it's
I have
just not,
Council
Have a good night,
President, I
Mr.
want to finish
Puzio.
my
Thanks for
report.
coming.
it's not productive when he's doing this, you know,
Mr.
he's
Jackson,
acting
I
like
want
a
to make a
child.
motion. My
You know, with
motion
some of
that I
these
have
dogs,
council meeting. I was muted. Is to not cancel the December 14th council meeting.
does anybody want to second that motion?
So you're going to cancel it.
No, I didn't say, no, nobody said anything. You're
Yeah,
making a
you're gonna
motion.
cancel
Can
Something
I,
hasn't
can I
happened yet.
speak?
You're
Can
going to
I finish my
minimize the
report?
ability for one
Mayor
person to
Puzio,
speak.
listen, Mayor Puzio, you're speaking, you're not able to speak because he's not letting you. So the
Well,
point is going
then
on.
someone who is
The
there
console
needs to
controller.
mute him. Someone needs
I
to
can't, we
mute
can't,
him.
he can't.
Very, very
It's like
rude.
when your dog's barking in the
The
background.
public is being deprived
Mrs.
of
Seeger,
valuable,
I know, I agree with you, Mr. Mayor, and he's an embarrassment, but I
I'm
can't,
not
we
an
can't control him.
embarrassment.
valuable information. He's impeding, he's not
Well,
serving the public.
Mr. Mayor, I'll ask you to
Questions
put
if
something
you need.
together and we'll put it on the website.
Great, thank
There you
you.
go.
Thank you.
Mr. Yachafano, do you have any report?
Other than wishing all of our Jewish friends a happy Hanukkah on the third night, and congratulating Mr. Kritz and Vice President Sackett on their sweaters, I have nothing else.
Okay. Mrs. Seeger, do you have any report?
You got a report and you didn't. You
Mr.
still get
Seeger.
paid with no report.
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order.
At
Two
this
attorneys with
time,
nothing to say.
You know, and Ms. Seeger, I'm really sorry, and Mayor Puzio, I'm
Two
not going to
attorneys-
go through everybody because he's
No.
just to continue to interrupt everybody.
I
How much-
understand. Listen, I
That's
don't listen
fine.
to the report. I invited the department heads tonight. We're going to forego all of our reports.
Okay,
It's
There
not
you go.
product-
I
it's just not
understand.
productive.
What do you do?
I
You
had
can't do
all
the
of the
report by
department
interrupting,
heads-
Mr. Kelly.
Do a report.
Had all of
Can
the
I have a
department
motion?
heads here tonight.
I'm gonna
to
make a motion
give the
to
citizens
adjourn.
updates, to
Make a
give the
motion to
citizens.
adjourn.
Council
most
Prince is making a
information.
motion to adjourn the meeting.
Kelly
Mr.
has
Brooks
a
is
motion.
seconding.
He has,
All in favor, raise your hand.
Superintendent.
The majority council ends. The meeting's over, Ms. Clipperton. Please end the meeting.
Do a report on the
Please
superintendent.
end the meeting,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Clipperton. Nobody needs to hear him
123
speak.